Welcome to the Winter Train and Village, a late 19th century model railroad display, part of Seattle Center Winterfest presented by Symetra. The Village is located inside the Armory Food Event Hall, an open atrium-like space the size of a football field, with food vendors around its perimeter, ceilings 3 stories tall with skylights, and decorated for the holidays. The display is set on a waist-high raised platform, about 3 living rooms long and 1 living room wide. Along the middle of the eastern side is a replica of Seattle's King Street Station, about the size of an automobile, where the worker who operates the train has their controls. The display depicts the snow-covered town of Centerville, boasting 2 railway tracks, one along the outside edge, and one which makes a figure 8 in the center. 2 trains, each with a black engine and 3 passenger cars, runs on the track at any given time. One end of the set contains houses and a farm. The center boasts downtown buildings decorated for the holidays. And the far end has industrial businesses, a ravine, and a mountain. A cast of diverse characters, both human and animal, each about as tall as your hand, populate the set. Keep listening for a more in-depth 6-minute tour of Centerville. Let's imagine we can hop on board the train and take a tour. We start at Centerville Train Station, a gray building with large windows. Out front, carts are full of luggage. People sit on benches, and a conductor waves. Our train leaves the station on the outer track, headed in a counterclockwise direction. It first passes Fire Hall Number 3, a tall brick building with a central tower. 2 large garage doors are open, revealing an old-fashioned fire truck. Several firemen and a Dalmatian dog talk to a nearby citizen. Our train then encounters a yellow clapboard building, the Echo Hotel, where a U.S. mail horse-drawn cart sits outside. The next structure is a white gazebo, where a 4-piece brass band in red uniforms plays music to patrons sitting on benches. The train then passes a gentleman in a gray suit shoveling snow in front of a 2-story red brick building with a steep exterior staircase. A sign says Elks Lodge, Masonic Hall, Boy Scouts of America. Nearby, 2 ice hockey players sign autographs for the children. We roll past a grove of white birch trees with Christmas lights in their branches, then encounter the Chin-Lee Restaurant, a yellow structure with red oriental architectural flourishes and some roasted ducks hanging in the window. Nearby, a tall tree reveals an elaborate blue-green peacock sitting in its limbs. The train turns a corner toward the left and passes a house made of blue clapboards and white trim with a porch on 4 sides. A Hanukkah menorah adorns the window. Next is Settle Down Farms, a barn whose open doors reveal sheep, a pig, and cows eating hay. A woman feeds chickens next to a red tractor. A tall silver windmill rises up out back. On the next corner is a yellow house covered in cats, in the windows, on the porch, and on the roof, overseen by a gray-haired woman in a red shawl. The train turns and travels past trees on the left. A horse-drawn sleigh is nearby, driven by a man and woman with wrapped Christmas presents in the back. A vendor sells a bag of popcorn to a young woman outside his red truck. We chug past a spinning merry-go-round. Children ride decorated horse figurines that glide up and down on poles. A small red ticket booth is nearby. We pass 2 folks standing in front of an open fire roasting chestnuts. This leads to a square brick patio, the landing spot of a hot air balloon. A man with a megaphone announces balloon rides. The balloon has multiple colors, a wicker basket, and hangs in the air, rising 10 feet off the ground and occasionally gliding back to the landing pad. Beyond is a fountain surrounded by paths and topiary. A woman in a red dress and fur stole sits on a bench reading a letter. The train continues past some buildings in the distance, including the courthouse, a seafoam green building with a large wreath on its side. Out front, Ruth Bader Ginsburg talks to another judge in a black robe. Next is the Pink Olympic Hotel, which has 2 turrets on each side and large windows. Then, the backside of the Royal Theater, a blue clapboard building with gold and white trim. The front of the theater boasts large doors with carved lion door knockers. A figure of Shakespeare stands on the roof. We roll past the Centerville Library, a yellow one-story building with a front porch. We find a pack of dogs running through the snow, one with a long string of sausages trailing from its mouth. This amusing scene takes place outside of Gates Goods, the town's grocery, dry goods, and supply store. Its three-sided porch contains baskets and boxes of produce. The train passes the A&J Saloon, which serves beer and wine. Many patrons are on the porch, including a pair of men playing chess. Next door, ironically, is the church, a long white building with a brass steeple, a bell, and stained glass windows. A nun in a black habit, a man in a black tuxedo, and his bride in a floral dress stand on the church steps. Off to the left is a blue frozen pond with lots of activity, a ski and skate rental shack, a bait shop, some boats, and a man fishing off a dock. An artist paints a picture of the pond onto canvas. Two people carve ice sculptures, while a couple of others watch. In the corner of the pond, a large teal-colored kraken emerges, carrying a sign that says, "Go Kraken." Next is a salmon-colored building with green trim and a porch. It has Mexican-style cut paper decorations on its railings, and a large fabric sign that says, "Feliz Navidad." In the yard, 3 children and an adult hit a piñata that hangs off a tree. As we turn to the left, the train proceeds over a wooden trestle bridge that spans a rocky ravine, littered with a discarded bicycle and old tires. Beyond is the Cass & Company sawmill, a wooden post and beam structure. Inside are tree trunks, lengths of cut lumber, and 2 workers milling wood. Next is a green flatbed truck with string-bound Christmas trees in back, plus a wooden tower with a silver 10-gallon water container on top. An American flag hangs from the structure. The train rounds the next corner to reveal the City Light and Power Complex, a large 3-story brick building with green trim. Wreaths and flowers decorate the windowsills. Next is a billboard advertising insurance provider Symetra. The train makes another left turn, passing a livery, blacksmith shop, and a stable. These are each rough-hewn wooden buildings with workers, horses in a corral, and tools of the trade populating the area. We next see Centerville School, a red building with white trim. In the schoolyard, kids play on jungle gym equipment. Rounding a curve, we see on the left a snow-covered hill surrounded by trees. 3 skiers descend. As the train rounds the hill, we discover there's actually a tunnel through it. An encampment of folks have pitched a tent and are roasting a duck over a campfire near the wood-beamed tunnel entrance. The train pulls past the station and continues onto an inner track that loops through the center of town, which features another blue pond. A woman in a maroon dress spins in a loop on ice skates. Surrounding the pond is the Falstich Home Loan Bank, the Olympic Hotel, the Royal Theater, the Harrington and Smith store, and the Sweet Shop. The train rolls past the church and enters a figure-8 section of track. In the middle is Moose Junkyard and Used Goods, a log cabin with junk littering its yard such as a bathtub, trunks, barrels, and a doghouse with a sign that says Jake. A deer and a hunter with a rifle are nearby. As the train finishes its figure-8, it enters the tunnel we passed earlier. When it exits, it turns slightly and stops at the train station. Our journey is complete, and we find ourselves transported back to the Armory Food and Event Hall, abuzz with lively activity.